Let's now go straight to SANEF chairperson Sbu Ngalwa, who joins us live now to react to what we just spoke to Pule about. Sbu, thank you so much for your time this evening. The ANC is saying that they are now saying we were never supposed to be paying, and they say that it was only for us to be able to erect our structures and all of that. Was that your understanding as well?
No, Bongio. I think Pule there was very economical with the truth. Because when he comes to the SABC and says that the media is not expected to pay, actually that is not correct, because the ANC a while ago said that the media will pay for space, and there was clamor from the entire media, including ourselves as SANEF, and they backtracked on that position. When they had a meeting with the South African National Editors Forum, Ulemabe, in his own words, told the representatives of SANEF and the media houses that the ANC would be able to provide the same services that they provided for the media at the ANC policy conference in July. Now, that included the allocations of rooms and booths and such like. So to now, on the eve of conference, turn around and then suggest that those services will not be available. Happy about it, and we've asked for a meeting with the ANC to go through this issue and to actually get to understand why they would actually be springing up this surprise on us a few days before conference, because you would imagine that media houses have allocated budgets. They have working budgets for functions like this. So to then say 3-4 days before conference, no, we said we'd give you booths as media houses, now we cannot allocate those booths, is actually quite unfair, because you would understand that if you put the media in one media room, that's fine, that sounds okay. But you must understand that the media has got various needs. For instance, those who are in radio, in broadcasting, they need rooms where they can be able to record, where rooms that are soundproof, so that they can be able to package their stories. How do you do that in a room with 600 other media colleagues? So those are the kind of issues that we feel are unfair, and that it's unfair for the ANC to spring this surprise on us on the eve of conference.
And have you met with SANEF, Sbu? Because this, as I was saying to Pule earlier on, that it gives rise to various other issues, especially when it comes to independence, because ultimately some may see us as being stakeholders now in the ANC processes.
Exactly, Bongiwe. There are two things that could be at play here. One being that the ANC's poor planning, or it's probably deliberate by the party, and I'm not saying it may be either or. It may be deliberate by the party to spring this surprise on us on the eve of conference to force our hand. Because as you can imagine, if anyone is planning for a conference, you cost everything related to that conference. And what you put out there as your plans and your logistical plans also include the space that you allocate for the various stakeholders, be they guests, be they business, be they delegates. So to then say to the media, no, we had someone promise that they would pay for media space, and now they are not paying anymore, so therefore you have to pay for those booths, is actually quite unfortunate. And I think that actually that is why we are quite unhappy about it, because now effectively the ANC is saying that we must pay for structures to be put up in their conference. And I think that is what fundamentally we have a problem with, because you would understand when he explains to you, and I think for the benefit of the viewers, when Pulemabe says to you that the SABC is putting up its own tent, that is correct, because the broadcasters are putting up their own infrastructure and they're paying to put up their infrastructure. But what the ANC had promised is that the rest of the media will have allocated booths. So if you're in News 24, if you're in EWN, if you're in IOL, you would have your own office where you can be able to have some and also to be able to record sound if given the fact that was this late into the preparation, is to commit and deliver on what they committed. They have, that's the principle. They cannot backtrack a mere 4 days before conference, because budgets have been allocated. We are now ready to go cover the conference.
And Sbu, I wonder, have you met with the ANC, or is SANEF going to meet with the ANC to make sure? Because as much as we are hearing all of this, and you also need to then make sure that, as you say, everyone is provided for. Has a meeting between yourselves and the ANC taken place?
So, Bongiwe, the latest decision by the ANC came today. We only heard of it today when we got emails, and suddenly we're asking each other as colleagues as to what is happening. And subsequently, we've since had a small huddle as the Council of the South African National Editors Forum to say, let us meet with the ANC. And in principle, we were supposed to meet with the ANC, with Pulemabe, whoever represents the Department of Information and Publicity in the ANC, to go through these issues. And that meeting will be taking place tomorrow. But before that meeting, Bongiwe, as you said to him, hence you played him that clip where he had committed that the media would not be paying. At the time when they said that initially a few weeks ago, we had a meeting with them where Pulemabe said the media will not be expected to pay for space at the ANC conference. They will be given the same service they were given at the July conference. And I think this has got far-reaching implications for how the media covers political conferences and gatherings going forward. That is why we cannot just fold our arms and accept ANC telling us 4 days before the conference that now you have to fork out anything from 11,000 upwards, depending on the space you want allocated to you, if you want to have a booth.
All right, Sbu, I'm told we're out of time, but let's see then what comes out of that meeting between yourselves and the ANC, and we then know what happens with future events, because I also did ask Pula about this, and he says that we, as the media, will never be allowed, will never be made to pay to cover these events. But please clarify, as SANEF, some of these issues for us as the media, and we'll then hear from you at the back of that.
Certainly.
That is SANEF chairperson Sbu Ngalwa.